and he's going to be joining us again on November 14th at the party episode of The Voice Den, which takes place 5 p.m. Pacific. So really thrilled to bring on Brandon and our co-host, Ian Utility. I just called you Ian Utility. Ian Utility, and let's bring him right on. Here we go. Hey, Brandon and Ian Utility. How's it going, Brandon?
I love to see Ian Utility whenever I can, you know. It's a good thing. What's going on, guys?
I'm here.
That's
being useful. Like a utility.
He's like a utility knife. Hey, Brandon. All right. We'll get back to Ian Utility in a moment. Brandon, this is about you. All right, Brandon. Welcome to the show. Take a moment, introduce yourself to the listeners, to the viewers.
Sure. Thanks for having me, guys. Brandon Kaplan. I'm the founder of Skilled Creative, and we are a full-service voice agency. So we work with traditionally, Fortune 500 companies, and we help them figure out, what is this thing of voice? How can they fold it into their business, into their marketing? What channels can they get into? How do they leverage it as a distribution channel? How do they use it as a user interface? And we help brands build strategies and execute on voice programs. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. And so how old is this company? How long have you been doing this?
Started the company in January of 2017. And I got introduced to voice in May of 2016. I went to an Amazon workshop, and I saw a presentation on Alexa, and my brain melted, and I said, this is the future of something. I don't know of what, but I want to start poking around at this. So, poked around at it for about 6 or 7 months, and then said, this is really something. Let's get started.
Awesome. Amazing. Ian, you want to jump in here? Brandon's a wealth of knowledge, just like the other interviews we've done, like in terms of strategy and creativity and all the stuff about voice discovery. What are your thoughts? We got Brandon here. He's an open book, I think.
He is. Me and Brandon met a year and a half ago when I live stream interviewed him before we'd ever talked. I think I've made about 100 friends in the voice tech industry that I did not know until we went live. So it's nice to be fast forward a year and a half later, and Brandon and I have a real established relationship. What I found to be true about you, Brandon, then, that I believe is still true about you now, is that your company name, Skilled Creative, is a really great statement of what is your unique genius. You have the ability to bring together a bunch of skilled people that do creative work first. Now, the creative work that you're bringing these skilled people together to do is around voice technology, but obviously there's all sorts of things that have to do with strategy or have to do with promotion, et cetera. And so I think one thing that would be interesting for you to share with the audience is, have those two skill sets always been kind of your strongest skill sets? Your ability to bring together a team of skilled practitioners that are experts and specialists at their different fields working together as one symphony. Has that always been your primary leadership skill? And has creativity always been the primary thing that you've led with over really interesting technology or over all these other things, marketing for marketing's sake, it's getting attention? Like, has it always been, I'm gonna get the most skilled people to work as a symphony, and we are going to do very creative work, in this case, around the voice tech industry? Can you just talk a bit about, is this different today than it was for you in the past?
It's interesting. It's like I've always been obsessed with technology. And I always tell this when I meet people or when I'm talking about like my career path, is I always knew that I was going to be in technology. When I was a kid, I used to take all of the electronics apart in my house, but I didn't know how to put anything back together. So my parents were upset. The remote controls and the vacuum were destroyed, and no one knew how to put them back together. So at that point, I knew that I wanted to be involved in technology, but I knew I wasn't going to be an engineer, right? I wanted to take it apart, but I couldn't put it back together. So I've always had to bring people along the journey with me to help me put the vision together. And I started my career in manufacturing. So I started out of school. I was in marketing and sales of a manufacturing company making electronics. And then I moved into another company when that was acquired, and then another company after that. And then I owned my own manufacturing company. I made a line of electric bicycles. I had that company for about 5 years and sold that company. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. And then I kind of fell backwards into the service business, and I was running for 4 years a content marketing agency. And that's what introduced me for the first time to like the service industry. And at that point, I got really obsessed with the service industry because I love that you can kind of unpack other people's problems and you can kind of dig in and help them find solutions. And then I kind of repositioned myself back into service technology through Skilled Creative. And this is a long story to get to what I'm about to say, which is when I ideated on Skilled Creative, I wrote a Venn diagram of like, what's my next company going to be? And I saw this speaker that said, like, put your 3 biggest passions in a Venn diagram, and at the center, that's the company you should make. And I wrote down, I'm obsessed with technology. I'm really passionate about big ideas and big creative challenges. And I love bringing people together to solve those problems. And at the center of that is what I designed as Skilled Creative, and that we're using technologies to come up with creative solutions. And I need those other people in our team members and in our clients to have the vehicle to go do that. So like a 40-minute response to a very straightforward question. But yeah, I've always collaborated with people. I really love and value partnerships for our company. And that always results in, I think, the best possible product at the end of the day.
Amazing. I love that Venn diagram exercise, because I was just doing that in my mind as you were doing that in terms of what I'm doing, and I think it's
cool, right?
It works really well. Like I'm thinking, like as you said, obsessed with technology. I was like, yeah, that would be one of my circles too. And then your second one, what was your second one? Oh, creativity. I was like, yeah, I think that's my second one as well. And then the third one for me was like educating. And I was like, oh, so I'm kind of, this is like what we're doing right now. We're talking about technology, educating, and anyway.
You're doing it, man.
My little side thoughts there. Anyway, it's all good. Brandon, so tell us, I'd love to hear about some of the things that you've done with your company, some of the really creative stuff that you have built, and maybe even talk about some of the use cases if you can, some of the really cool things that you've been working on.
Sure. I mean, so when the company started, we were doing a bunch of different technologies. So we were doing voice, computer vision, augmented reality. We were doing computer vision and vending machines for PepsiCo, where we could see like what different demographics were vending different flavors on these machines. We were seeing that like, men over 50 were vending vanilla beverages, and everyone under 20 was vending lemon with their Pepsi. It was really interesting. And we were projection mapping in hotels in New York City, and we were doing chatbots and voice. And then about 2.5 years ago, I completely shifted the agency 100% to voice, because I felt that voice was really the only tech that wasn't an activation. It was really shifting consumer behavior. So since then, we've been purely doing voice, and we've been working with really cool clients. We've actually done quite a few projects with PepsiCo. We've done some voice activated kiosks on college campuses that engaged with college students during finals month. That was really fun. Motivational talks through vending machines. We've done like really cool lifestyle experiences for PepsiCo. We've worked with Meredith Corporation's been one of our best partners, and we've helped to launch a series of experiences for them. So we launched All Recipes into market. We launched Entertainment Weekly. We just launched a really exciting project with Health Magazine that's called My Daily Mindset, and it's a 14-day affirmation journey. So I think right now everybody needs a little positivity. So it's a 14-day journey. We come in every day, and we put so much creative care and love into that. It's a great experience. And then we've also launched with Real Simple Relax, which was another meditation experience. We've done things with FanDuel, with like interactive betting with FanDuel. We've done Simon & Schuster from the library. And now we're working with the NBA, HBO, Warner Music Group, and a couple other media companies. So we've always been largely focused on media and entertainment, and then CPG. And I think those are two areas of the industry that are going to gain a lot of traction in the next 6, 12, 18 months, and where we have more more kind of creative flexibility to play.
Great.
Yeah.
And I know that one of the things that you're quite interested in is, you as you said, you're full service agency, so you're building these, but then the issue is now how do you get them out to the market? How do people discover these? What are your thoughts on that aspect of the product?
That's the $1 trillion question in voice right now. Like you talk to anybody and it's about discovery. And for me, I think what's cool is like when we start talking to any client, I say, if I'm talking to a Warner Music Group or a Warner Media or whoever else it may be, I say, you're really well positioned because voice has reached a distribution maturity, but it's not yet reached a content and a channel maturity, meaning that we've got all these hundreds of millions of devices in people's homes, but no one's really broken through and made something in a third party, app perspective that people want to use in a high velocity. So to me, there's two opportunities there. Number one, we've got to get more creative. And if you go to like my LinkedIn, it says looking for creative minds to help us build the best voice experiences. I think we have yet to still break through on like the truly and wildly creative experiences that people are clamoring to engage with. And the features are all there. So that's something that our team works on every day, right? How do we unpack more creativity? How do we find more creative corners, and not in the absence of Ian utility, because you need utility. But like, how do you get true creativity while being a good utility for people? And then the second thing that we harp on with our clients a lot is this has to be a program. This cannot be a project. We've got to have a good use case. It's got to be creative. It's got to come from the right consumer insights. But if you're going to invest in building this thing, we need you to double down and invest in marketing it and retargeting people and re-engaging people and filling the CRM and making sure people come back and engage with it. So another long-winded response, but I think it's a blend of hyper-focusing on the creativity that makes a good experience and then following through on the swing and treating it like a program that you have a longer-term commitment to rather than a project that you launch and you take your hands off the wheel and you hope it gets across the finish line, which never happens.
Right.
And I think that like an anecdote to speak to that is we've been doing a ton of user interviews and user testing. Every project we have, we do more and more and more user testing before we lock in a use case. And what's been really amazing to me is like, we always come to the table with an idea about what we think that user journey is going to be. And then by doing 10, 15, 20 user interviews, we realized that like we were in the right room, but we were like 2 degrees off from what those people really wanted. And I think a lot of people just like have an idea and they're like, this is a genius idea. We're going to market. And they don't give enough breathing room to, are we 2 degrees off from something that's truly usable and great? And then it plateaus and they don't know why. So to summarize, creativity, make it a program, and then give yourself breathing room to really launch the right use case, and then also like iterate. These are analytics to iterate.
Great.
Yeah. So Teri and I, we have changed our T-shirts 4 times in the last 3 hours. Good. Because we had 4 interviews back to back, and we wanted to keep it fresh. And so Teri and I picked out these specific shirts just for you. They're almost the opposite shirt. I am wearing the hustle shirt, and Teri's wearing the fight burnout shirt, which I think what's really happening here is it's destiny, just to say that, Brandon, you are perfectly in the middle between hustle and fighting burnout. So why don't you just tell us all how you've mastered the skill of healthy hustle and moderate burnout fighting?
It's an interesting year to talk about fighting burnout. I don't know, man. Like, I love what we do. I really do believe in the technology. I think that everybody that's working in voice right now we always joke at a round table, oh, you're a pioneer, but no, like really we're pioneers. Like voice is not a user interface that's going to fade off into the sunset. It's here. Sure. And it's going to continue to be used more. So to me, it's just like wildly exciting that every day we get to unpack this more and more and more. Yep. And then the platforms every day are releasing new features for us to play with, some of which work and some of which don't. It's frustrating and fun. And then to your point when we started, I think that we've put together a team at Skilled Creative that is like shares that attitude. We've got really, really just great people who are passionate. Nobody comes to meetings, as far as I can tell, like upset or disillusioned. Like we attack challenges for our partners. We fix things. We build things. We're being creative. We're laughing. And everybody goes through frustrations. And I think like I have an adage in my personal life that's just like always moving forward. And I feel like especially in this year, if you're always moving forward and you're always trying to put your best foot forward and build the best possible thing, and you're doing it with a genuine energy and honesty and passion, then what could go wrong? Even if you take a couple missed swings, as long as you correct them. So for me, it's like as long as I feel like I'm moving forward, I don't burn out. And as long as I'm excited about what I'm working on, I can be passionate about it. So I've kind of constructed that and then put a team together that I think feels the same way. You can ask them.
Yeah, it's so important what you said. Like I agree. Like follow your passion. That's the way to do it. And when you are working on something you're passionate about, then I think you can hustle and not feel burnt out right. At the same time. And so hey, those are words to live by. I totally agree with you.
And mix it up. Sorry to re-interject, but and mix it up. Like whenever I talk with a person on our team and they're like, I'm feeling a little burnt out on this project. Like, okay, rotate off this project, go to something else, or don't join the 3 o'clock meeting, go for a hike, or work out in the morning if you're working out in the evening, or change your diet for the week. Like, especially this year where we're all kind of in a Groundhog Day. Mixing things up and keeping it fresh is really key.
Yeah, no, for sure. So Brandon, I do want to be respectful of your time. I want to ask you this, and I've been asking everybody this. Again, we're really fortunate. I'm really thrilled that you're going to be on the next episode of the Voice Den, the Party Edition. If people come on and they were to type a question in that question box to you, what kind of questions would you want them to be asking you? What's your sweet spot there? The things that you feel that you could really offer a lot of value to the viewers, to listeners.
I think a couple of things. Any free time that I have, I'm really like trying to think about what's 4 steps ahead for our industry or for my business. I get really excited about talking about the future of the technology. Where's it going to be? We spend a lot of time with our clients doing that. So that's from a voice perspective. And then from a human perspective, I'm just like a obsessed entrepreneur, and I love talking to other entrepreneurs, and I love hearing people's ideas and challenges and helping them kind of work through them. So I get LinkedIn messages from people pretty often who are like, I'm getting into voice, what do you think, what could I do? And I'm not trying to create competitors out there, but I'm happy to advise people on how do you get your first client, how can you service people in voice the right way, what type of a system do you put together, because we've put a lot of time and energy into building our system. So I think any thoughts people have on wanting to talk about the future of voice, or even just like the business of voice, because we're working on it hard every day.
That's great. No, that's very valuable. I'm sure you'll get a lot of people to take you up on that. Fantastic. Ian, any final comments or questions before we wrap up?
Yeah, final question would be on mentorship. So I said to Adam Shire on our last interview about what an inspiration he is to me and other entrepreneurs. It's nice to be able to look to people like him that have been faithful for 3 decades and had the ambition and the drive to stick it out. And when he got the question from me, he chose to talk about his mentors. And I think that would be the final thing I want to ask you about. I believe that mentorship is the most significant part of my life education. It's the most significant part of my success has been mentorship. I have been overly mentored. I've had more great mentors in my life than a man deserves. So I think that would be the final question for you. Any mentor or mentor stand out that's helped you become who you are, get to this point, and why that person or why those people?
Yeah, a couple people that stand out. My first job out of college, I was 22, and I started working in marketing and sales in this manufacturing business, which I, by the way, had studied 4 years of finance and thought I was going to be an investment banker. So that's like another story for another cocktail session. But yeah, my direct boss really taught me that, like, you shouldn't be nervous about talking to anybody. Like so let me mute my Slack here, sorry. You shouldn't really be nervous about talking to anybody. Like, we would go on these meetings with these big retailers, and he was fearless. And it taught me that it doesn't matter if you're talking to a neighbor or the CEO of a Fortune 100 company. Like, everybody is a person. They're dealing with job stress and life stress, and are they getting their promotion? What are they dealing with? And if you can help them in some way and bring value, you shouldn't have any stress about being able to talk to them. So that, like, so much weight went off my shoulders when I learned that, and that I've carried that with me always. I always try to talk to people about that. And then the second boss at the same company was the CEO of that company, and he was like a terrifying CEO who, like, almost fired me like 200 times because he was so focused on attention to detail. And I think that quality comes from not micromanaging, but being focused on quality and attention to detail. So I think those two things have gone a long way for me. And then, like, Adam Shire is just like a fascinating dude. And what I love about him is that guy's having fun. Like, if you've ever gone to a presentation that Adam Shire did, he's doing magic tricks, he's telling jokes, and somehow he's sneaking in like the most incredible narrative about the future of technology. And for me, like, I think sometimes you lose the forest for the trees and you get caught in the spreadsheet you're filling out this week. And I think everyone needs to take a step back once in a while and go, I cannot believe we're working on this super cool technology with this super cool project or brand or partner. And you got to make sure you're having a good time and you appreciate the opportunity to work in it. So yeah, people are just people. Focus on details and try and have as much fun as you can when you're doing it.
That's awesome advice. Yeah, no, really, really
That
good.
is.
Yeah. Amazing, Brandon. Well, thank you so much for spending some time here with us. I really appreciate it. We both really appreciate it. Before we say goodbye, please tell the listeners, the audience, the viewers, where can they learn more about what you're doing? How can they follow along?
Yeah, we're Skilled Creative. You can find us at skilledcreative.com. Don't go for like a week because our website's about to be relaunched. So I'll be really proud of it then, but you can go now if you want. Check us out at Skilled Creative on all the social channels. We post some kind of a comment every day. And feel free to reach out to us through the contact us on our website. And yeah, whether you're a competitor in the voice industry or you're a startup in the voice industry, or you're a big, exciting brand that we would love to work with, please reach out, and always happy to talk about the channel and the technology. But thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. Love what you're doing.
Well, wonderful, Brandon. Again, it was absolutely a pleasure to have you here. And for those of you that want to chat more with Brandon, remember, he will be on the Voice Den, the party edition, on November 14th. That's a Saturday, November 14th from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific. Can't wait to see you there, as well as Ian. Thanks for joining us as well, Ian, utility man. And until next time, guys. Talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Thank you.